Today's edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox is brought to you by Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale.
Hold the mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome fave with shafafa on the
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. We have a rare but always fun home show today. We got Jeff Defo DeForest up in home base near Lauderdale by the Sea. We've got Mike Lubie Lubitz up in the northwest of Coral Springs. We've got me right here downtown Fort Lauderdale, and I am ready for, well, you can't even see it. It's a Fat Tuesday. That was terrible. I've got my New Orleans Jazz Fest shirt on, which is not quite Mardi Gras, but we love New Orleans, and it's Fat Tuesday, although in my case, I might have to start calling it Skinny Tuesday. How are you, Jeff Defo DeForest?
I'm good, man. Good to see you guys again. Lubie's looking good, and curious to see how you turn this into Skinny Tuesday.
Well, so yesterday, people who are following my personal food and health adventures, I did it. I finally did the trick yesterday after our great show at that new Sicilian restaurant in Boca where I stuffed my face. It was kind of like a last meal. I had some good pastas. I had some of the good, nice fish that Chef David prepared for us, and we also had some bruschetta. But after that, I did the deed. I took my first injection of the Big O, also known as Ozempic, not Orlando Alzagari. But I know this might seem like trickeration or cheating, and I did things the old-fashioned way in February, dry February. I did end up losing like 10 pounds through hard work, abstinence from alcohol and drugs, and also watching what I ate. Also, a stomach bug and a flare-up of diverticulitis also helped. But in any event, after that jump start, I said, you know what? I had a little setback over the weekend, ate too much, drank a little bit with the bourbon and barbecue. And so yesterday I did it. I took off the pen cap, and I hate needles. And I had to get a little assistance, actually, from a healthcare professional to inject myself the first time just to show me how to do it. But it's the weirdest thing, Defo and Lubie, because, I'm not exactly skinny yet, but in order to celebrate Fat Tuesday today, I went to a local, very renowned Cajun, New Orleans, Louisiana establishment in downtown Fort Lauderdale, Shuck and Dive. I think you've been there, right? A few times through the years, right? Both of you gentlemen.
I love
Shuck and Dive, downtown Fort Lauderdale, right there on Federal Highway, right across the street from our friends at Batch, and right up the block from our friends at Taco Craft. But they are having a big, big Fat Tuesday celebration today, complete with live music. Bands are starting after 3 o'clock. They've got 1,000 pounds of crawfish that they're going to boil, dropping the first batch at about also 3 or 4 o'clock when people are getting out of work. But I went in there for the lunch rush, and I got myself a shrimp po' boy and this beautiful crawfish mac and cheese, also known as crawfish Monica to those who go to Jazz Fest, like our friend Joe Casale, if he's on today. And I just, the weirdest thing happened. So I pick up this order. I went in there, I said hello to everybody, might drop by later for a little drink. But since I took this injection yesterday, I don't know if this is the placebo effect. And Lubie, you said you've been around some people that have done this stuff, but I don't know if the effects are supposed to be immediate.
It's an instant. It's instant. Oh no, look, I'm so curious about long-term research for people who don't have diabetes, for those who use it for a really long period of time. But those that I know that have used it for short periods of time, it is magnificent. It literally gets rid of your hunger like that, to the point where not that you starve yourself, but you don't overeat. You push food away. Like my sister-in-law, her and my brother-in-law would like finish entire plates and would eat all this food. And like she, in the last, I don't know, I think she's done it for a year or so. She's lost like a ton of weight. And she eats less than any of us now, like even less. And me and Shirley don't eat a lot. Like they eat less than us. Like it's just different. And it's like changed her lifestyle. And Shirley, who's not a big eater already, Like when she was on it was actually annoying for me because I would want to, like, she would never bring up food and she wouldn't think about food. She wouldn't care. It's just, they call it food noise, which most of us don't even realize we have, where you're thinking about what's the next meal? What am I going to have for this? What am I, you don't, it just silences that. That's what it does. It's not that you won't eat or you starve. It's just, it gets rid of the need to talk or think about food constantly.
Now, Defo, I know that you, I guess, you have your feelings about, but do you know anybody personally that's been on it, or have you heard any kind of like personal feedback from those who have had direct experiences with it?
I do. A friend of mine, the great Francesco, the guy whose bets I book every football season, told me he started using it and he had dropped 20 pounds,
Oh,
which
wow.
this was a guy who was not as inactive as you have been while you've been feeding yourself generous portions of food over the last several years, because he does play tennis every day, but was overweight the entire time I've known him, and worked in restaurants for many years, including with your man Mario from C. Mario at
Yeah.
different places that he owned. Worked with Chef Angelo at Casa D'Angelo and other places that he owned. So he's used to having the opportunity to just shovel inadvertently food in his face. So he was always overweight. Said he lost 20 pounds and he loves his stuff.
So is he Is he still on it and maintaining?
I guess I don't know. I haven't seen him, but
Okay.
he told me he dropped 20 pounds while he was
It's
shooting up them.
it's weird to me because when I heard the name Francesco and I think of an elegant Italian, very thin, and like I just didn't picture him as a overweight guy, even though he might have been working in kitchens. Because
He's
a
like
lot
a
of
lot
the
in his youth, he was a dashing, handsome Italian man, and it comes under the heading, if he went to a reunion, they probably would ask him the first question, "What happened to you?" But he wasn't completely out of shape or anything. I mean, he does run around the tennis courts. He gets around pretty well. So
Fat fit. I used to be known as fat fit. Like I would run half marathons, even though I wasn't. I'd had.
you were running half marathons when you had put on a couple.
Well, no, I at
'Cause I
that
remember the
point.
young skinny Mayo. I do remember the young skinny
It's
Mayo.
funny. I look skinny when I was weighing 190 pounds, which for most people would be pretty porky. But I'm one of those. I'm just have a thick frame and it just have I guess wide hips and big thighs and stuff like that. So even when I guess when I at one point I dropped back down to like 165 and everybody thought I was dying. They were like, "Mike, you got cancer? You sick?" And then I realized like my optimum weight is like 185, 180. Like I look healthy. And when I get into the 190s, it looks, but I let myself go. I mean, to the hilt, where I was pushing 250 and at one point top 250. I started this latest journey at 243 and got down to 233. After the weekend, I gained, like I was back up to 235, but I just said, all right, it's time. Let's see what the wonder drug can do. And again, I do have the medical conditions that qualifies me for it. I'm not doing it for vanity's sake. I am doing it for health's sake because I have been diagnosed with the insidious diabetes type 2, which runs in my family on my father's side. And he treated it for a long time with just metformin and diet and exercise and discipline. I don't have the discipline that my father had, and especially being surrounded by food every day. But let me tell you this. I thought it was maybe, but I'm glad to hear, Lubie, you telling me that it kind of works immediately because
Instant.
I took the shot yesterday about 3:30. And the first thing I did is I had to go to Publix and just do a little bit of shopping. I just had to exchange one of these water bottles, and I go into Publix, and usually, when you go up and down the aisles,
Worst.
it's you just like start putting impulse buys in. Oh, BOGO pretzels this week. Let me get that. It was the weirdest thing because I just went up and down the aisles. I had no interest in anything. I bought a bottle of hand soap and a carton of sparkling water, and I walked out the door. And I was like, okay, I didn't want anything. I didn't want any of the snacks or the cookies. And then I had like this metallic taste in the back of my mouth, which I might just be imagining because I'm.
I mean, there are side effects too. There are not most people I know haven't had the side effects. But they do exist and they do warn you of certain things. So I don't know.
Yeah, and some of this, again, because I'm a hypochondriac, I immediately read the list of side effects and I start imagining that I have all of them. It's like nausea and possible other stomach upset. It could cause gallbladder problems, gallstones, gallbladder removal. It also has been shown to cause thyroid tumors in rats and mice, but they don't know if it causes
I've never
thyroid tumors and thyroid cancer in human beings. But they said, watch out if you develop any lumps or stuff around your neck or thyroid, then immediately go to the doctor and stop taking it. So now, of course, I'm doing the health check every morning and fully, feeling up my throat.
I wouldn't do it long term if I were you, because you're gonna talk yourself into some weird, crazy crap.
No,
But
no, I'm gonna here's the plan. I'm gonna do it until my birthday, basically 3 months, and I'm gonna see where I end up. I mean, my goal is to have a weight that begins with the number 1 again, which to me would be a miracle. Being in the mid 200s all these years, and I don't know if anybody cares about this or not, but I've made a living or made some sort of a following going around eating, and now I'm still going to be eating, but I just think it's not going to be as much. And so here was the strange thing. I go into Shuck and Guy to pick up my shrimp po' boy
po'
and
boys
my
are so good.
crawfish Monica. And they asked me, what do you want as your side? Fries, tater tots, or coleslaw? I love the tater tots. So, I pick up the bag, I go in the car, and immediately I get this nice, the aroma comes wafting out of the bag of the fresh fried tater tots. Now,
normally you eat 7.
once upon a time, I would have dove into that box immediately on the way home, and there would have been lucky to be 2 tater tots left. This time, it was just like the aroma came wafting over me, and it was just the strangest thing. I was like, that's interesting.
Yep.
Okay, that's nice. And I just didn't even make a move for the bag. And I got home and I opened up the box. I took some pictures. I made an arrangement. I took one bite of this crawfish. It's so rich and creamy and cheesy. I was like, okay, I don't want any more of that. And then, I had I had 1 or 2 tater tots, and I have this plate sitting in front of me. And it's like, okay, maybe at some point during the show, in deference to it being Mardi Gras and Fat Tuesday, I'll take a bite of the shrimp po' boy, but it's not screaming my name like it would have even just 24 hours ago. And this is a very odd sensation. Defo, I just don't know what to do.
Oh, you would be lost. I mean, all you really needed to do to motivate yourself, and I have to say, you mentioned all of these possible side effects of Ozempic. It was an Ozempic ad, which I despise the ads. I hate that fat chick that's singing out there and dancing. As soon as I see this ad, I have to change the station. I literally do. And I go, Ozempic? Because I'm thinking, well, what a bunch of crap this is. And then the disclaimer, which, I mean, they started it like 1 second into the ad. The guy started reading all these side effects. And that was my lasting impression. You brought this up today. I didn't know you were doing this, but you'd been talking about it. And I thought, my God, nobody in their right mind could ever go anywhere near this. I'd rather just go ahead and snort some fentanyl than.
Yeah, but when you get tired of being a fat fuck and you look in the mirror and then you see those old pictures.
I was going to say that what you really needed to do, Michael, and it's on the show, and people can see it here on Let's Eat South Florida. I would put that picture on the fridge of you in front of the New River house, where you're wearing that red and white tablecloth shirt that you bought, which you said was double XL. And it's not a particularly flattering picture because usually you're hiding behind a desk on these remotes or some kind of table. This one exacerbates the fact that maybe you'd been eating too much. Stick that on the fridge with the word no, N-O.
Right.
And you'll be fine. The side effects, well, when they rattle those off, that took 59 and a half seconds of the 60 seconds.
It's true. They started right
talking as they brought the show back.
Yes,
the funny part is the list of the side effects last longer than the actual commercial, and they play it at the 78 RPM.
But they're serious. I mean, it's not like this is okay. Well, you might experience some nausea, but you've taken this pill for 1,000,000 years. There's no nauseous effect. These are like devastating. Like you might have kidney removal. You might have this. You might have that. You could be paralyzed for life. I mean, it doesn't sound good.
Here's the thing with the side effects.
Shortcuts usually are there for a reason, especially to good. They don't always work out. A lot of people, like Lubie says, have had success doing this, so I'm not going to discourage you.
Look, I actually was where Defo was until I saw my wife, who's thin, trying it, just because she gets to these plateaus and she doesn't know how to jumpstart it. So, and she wasn't going to do it long term. She literally was doing it for a jumpstart, and it worked for her. And she hasn't really gained back the weight. She hasn't lost the weight she wanted to since, but she hasn't gained it back without being on it. But watching her use it and what it did for her, I was like, okay, because, and I watched Mayo, and it's something that I've trained myself not to do, and Devo's actually pretty good about it, but Mayo, and I've noticed the last 2 weeks, and that's why I've left it alone, because we'll all take our food, right? We'll all eat. We stop. Mayo never does. Mayo, the entire show, yes, and it's what my mom's always done her whole life, and it's why whenever I tell her the things I do, she is proud of me, but she can't comprehend it. Like the constantly, if it's there, I have to grab it. Is a self-control I've taught myself. Evo's clearly taught himself. It's something Mayo has to learn. And the Ozempic, and that's something I didn't even know Shirley had, because Shirley is thin and in shape, but she's actually, and I've watched it. If food's there, I'll stop myself. If it's there, and I guess they're from the islands, right? So you're taught clean your plate, eat your whole plate, blah, 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 blah. So I guess there's something ingrained in that where they actually make less portions. Unlike, like, we couldn't eat our whole plate. My mom made food for 40 people. So like you were never going to eat your whole plate. So you never even thought like that. They made small portions, right? So you ate your whole plate because that's all that was there. So you ate your whole plate. But here with bigger portions, when you're trying to eat your whole plate, you're eating way too much food. And I watched,
and I don't know if it's a nervous habit or it's basically just trying to be polite, because if we're going to these places and they're putting out all this wonderful food, I consider it like insulting to the chef if I don't, and I guess you're right. I don't have to eat the whole plate. Of it,
though.
Eat two bites. And
you don't have to annihilate every plate.
Right. And look, I think
Ruby's onto something, though. And this is something, that you definitely, if you can get it under control, that it would solve your problem. And that is the food speak, where you're constantly thinking about your next meal. I mean, you're running from Heritage to another restaurant.
No, the double and triple headers back to back.
And it constantly is. And you have to live your life. You may love food, and everybody does. Let's face it. Who doesn't like to eat? And who doesn't like great food? And when you go to these great restaurants, it's fantastic. It's great to have this kind of variety. But you can't be constantly thinking about it. Your life has to be about something more. That's why, if you took up a sport or a hobby or anything, or just went to the beach and sat there for an hour.
Gambling
it's way better than just thinking about food.
But no, all right. So to your points, yeah, I've let things
There's
go
more
out
to
of
life.
control.
There's more to life.
But it manifests in itself physically. It's called metabolic disease, metabolic syndrome, where when you eat certain things, when you're just eating like the carbs and the sugars, your body thinks it's hungry every 20 minutes. And then as the admin of a group where I'm always going on like every 2 hours, and I'm seeing people posting about new restaurants or new dishes, and I was like, "Ooh, I need that. Oh, I got to go get the new Wits frozen custard. Oh my God, Skyline chili." And I need better discipline. And this is where this medication, like for people who get to a point where physically they
cocaine was like that. I used to like going on a 24-hour binge because you never ate anything.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, you would gain it right back. As soon as you got off.
So I'm trying a new direction. And you know me, I'm an experimental type. Back in college, when MDMA first came out, ecstasy was still legal. They were producing it at the labs. I experimented with it. It was a wonderful drug, but it's like any other drug, everything in moderation. And then they made it illegal, and I stopped doing it mostly. But yeah, it's one of those things where
a bitter male on ecstasy. Lubie, what do you think?
No, I'm not bitter on ecstasy.
There was no bitter on ecstasy. I loved everybody and everything, but then once I came down, then I was really pissed off.
MDMA is like the greatest thing ever.
Look at this. I still haven't taken a bite, and this looks good. This is a good looking shrimp po' boy.
It's great. Shuck and Dive is probably, it's always been the most considered place in terms of quality of replicating some New Orleans food.
And speaking of which, I've
been there many times. I always enjoyed it. The owner happens to be a great guy. Yes. I met him at Cafe Seville. Actually, couldn't be any nicer. A lot of fun. And they do the thing in the right spirit. They really do.
And they moved to their current location. I don't even know how long ago, but they started off as a little spot on A1A in the corner of Oakland Park Boulevard, and then they moved over to.
They've been wherever they're at now for a long time.
20
years. Ever since I met Defo, they've been there, because Ken and I, they used to do dollar oysters on Wednesdays.
Yeah,
and we used to annihilate The oysters.
I was
and
over.
Oysters Rockefeller. They do a good job.
They have oysters, right? They have all the classics, and they also do on
Ooh.
Sundays. They do a special Southern fried chicken dinner on Sundays only. It's one of the best fried chickens I've had in South Florida. Plate was like only $20 or $22. It comes with the collard greens and a side. And
so they're jamming today like it was St. Patty's Day in an Irish bar.
Yeah, so I had that Sunday with Val, and that fried chicken is Sundays only. And we split one of those and some crawfish. But today it's set up like being at the field or whatever on St. Patty's Day. They have the whole parking lot blocked off. They have trucks and tables. They're going to have a stage with a band. They're going to be having a full outdoor.
How long is that going on for? All night?
Again, it started at 11 and it's going till about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. 1,000 pounds of crawfish, live music. I'm going to be going down there with Val about 5 or 6 o'clock. So come on,
maybe we'll go over there.
And I might eat some crawfish. Is great. Like that, I had a little bit the other night before I was on.
Too much work for too little reward.
No, but it's perfect on this drug because like you get the sensation of eating.
No, I mean, it's too much work for too little reward. Not everybody's shooting Ozempic.
Get yourself a full
I mean, why don't you just go visit Victor at the Bronco Lab?
Hey, and speaking of great Cajun cuisine, I did manage to catch up and talk with Tom Tanazzini this morning, our friend who's doing.
Where's Tommy T today? He's got.
Well, he was shopping. He's doing a private catering gig today.
Oh, good.
But Tom's Louisiana Kitchen, he did a crawfish boil over the weekend. The man is a maniac. He was in the hospital with all this circulatory and foot issues last week. They let him out. They didn't chop off his foot. I was afraid the way it looked. But he sounded good. He was busy. He was in a good mood for Fat Tuesday. And I did want to be able to. He said he's going to be doing a couple more crawfish boils in the next month or two. So again, go on his Tom's Louisiana Kitchen Facebook page for details of his upcoming pop-ups and the like. Love Tom T. He worked in New Orleans a long time, but he's a native South Floridian and a friend of the show. So thinking of him today, and I'm glad that he's on the mend. Just to wrap up the whole side effects thing. They are required.
Read the list.
No, they are required by law.
Okay, the rest of the show. It really was.
I'm going to make one point, but give you one analogy. By law, they are required to list side effects anytime there's a drug, and the things on the list might be actually only affecting a small, not even 1%, maybe like 0.2% of people, but they have to include it in the list. The same thing with the COVID vaccine.
Discharge part of that?
Yeah, it is, and that's what I was. That's why I wanted to.
That's where I say forget about it.
That's why I want.
I'll go walk an extra 3 miles.
I wanted to take my first dose when we weren't on the road anywhere where I couldn't have any accidents or had to.
You're going to be shooting up in the bathrooms of various restaurants?
No. On every.
So
it's
how often do you have to take it?
Once a week, and that's on the same day every week. So it's going to be on a Monday for me. Any time of day that works. And so far, so good. And it's, but when it's
good work, it can't hurt. I mean, if it curbs your appetite even the slightest bit,
I want to get back.
But stay on the exercise program.
I want to get back.
They even emphasize that on the commercial. They say only with diet and exercise.
And that's what I've been doing. I've trained myself. I went to the gym yesterday. I did a little walk this morning. I need my physical exertion now. I need to sweat. That's good. And instead of the negative picture of me being the Goodyear blimp, I liked the positive motivation of me being suave Mayo.
Oh, you're going to put up a picture of you from me like 20 years ago? Nice.
The ones that always pop up. Now, I was slightly encouraged today because this shirt I bought at the 35th Jazz and Heritage Festival. All right, it was an extra large, but I bought it back in 2005, and I slipped it on today.
Again. We didn't really get a good look at it.
God.
All right, there's actually some room there.
Man, that shirt looks big.
You didn't just take that out of the dryer.
I'm not like the sausage stuffed in the casing. This is like, and it's an extra large.
Up there, Mayo. I honestly, I have concerns for you because diabetes is no bargain. I mean, I was playing tennis last night with my podiatrist friend, Dr. Jerry Perlmutter, and he's coming off. It's funny because I'm thinking, well, how are we coming into this game? I'm coming off like sleeping and drinking a couple of beers, taking a gummy, and he's coming off like an amputation.
Oh,
and a lot of that, is diabetes related. So
right, but I'm not going to get to that point again. My A1C never really got above 7s. I talk to people; their A1C is in the 11s, 13s. That's shockingly high. I got religion early. I am now,
You
on
used
the
to
right
be in
path.
total denial, though. You had a bit of an arrogance about this. So, Lubie, is that a
Uh,
fair statement? That Mayo would say, "Hey, come on, Mike, you gotta, lighten up a little bit," and he would go, "I don't care."
no,
You really,
I was.
you had like this sort of thing, like that you were just going to fight your way through it no matter what. And look, your health is the number one thing. Yeah, you have to
Yes.
say that. We should do more on health and education, and
And
that
now that the
you're
heart
on the show.
scan came out clean, and now that I have, jump started it the old fashioned way, I'm feeling good about things.
All right,
And
well, keep shooting the stuff.
and just to wrap up the side effects. All
All right.
right, so it's very slim chance of getting some of these side effects. I am going to be mindful of them, but I did start last night
Mindful,
wondering.
you're totally paranoid on this stuff.
No, but I started having my perineum started to itch, and nobody
Ah,
wants an itchy perineum.
Perineum. Oh my
And
god.
then I
Well, you're
started
scratching
looking.
your balls more since you shot this.
And
How long
and
has this shot been in your system?
about 24 hours now. And
Oh, man.
but the thing is, don't ever do this. It says that it could lead to this rare and potentially fatal condition of the perineum. It's called uh Fouret's
Well, let's hope it doesn't
gangrene.
go there.
Do not do
Looking.
whatever you do. If anybody is watching this show today, do not go to Google and Google the images for
No,
Fournier's gangrene. Fournier's gangrene is like basically an infection to the perineum that apparently could be caused by some of these new drugs. And uh, that almost stopped me from taking any of these drugs ever again. But hopefully, it's a
just be
very
safe.
rare.
You'll notice.
You know that song, Lady Willpower? Was that from some Canadians? Because it costs you 25% more to listen to it.
Yeah,
Download it on
thing.
Spotify.
Oh my god! All right,
Willpower,
let's.
man. Willpower's way. There was a guy a long time ago. I had ballooned up to about 240. I normally was walking around. Like prior to that, I mean, I blimped up from like 165, where I was at my best as an older guy. And there was a guy named Derek Smith. He was a trainer, a personal trainer, and nutritionist. And he put me on a diet. And believe it or not, Mayo Man, the more you ate, the better off you were. This was perfect for you. And I would say this with exercise and just sticking to this for 3 weeks, I dropped over 20 pounds in 3 weeks. And it was good weight, too. I mean, because you couldn't have felt any better. You did have to drop alcohol. I was sneaking in a drink here and there. But you were eating 5 times a day and never hungry, really. It was
Small
incredible.
bites, little
Well,
meals,
I mean, but good
snacks.
stuff, too. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the difference.
And
You are
again, I'm
what
not
you
going to
eat
deny
anyway.
myself.
Yeah.
One on the chat line, I see George says he's been on it and dropped 50 pounds. Congrats to him. But that don't eat fried foods. That can have deleterious effects. And I'm not a big fried food fan.
Yeah.
So this is something that I always prefer: grilled things and a little bit of pasta and maybe baked items.
So
But
you're
we'll
like Jose Canseco now. You're on the juice. You're the
I'm juiced.
family gourmet version of Canseco.
Now, do I have Ozempic face yet, or I haven't gotten that?
Hey, you look good, man. As long as you don't start singing while you're on some fountain there with 30 fat people in the background. I mean,
Hey, let's take our first
don't
break.
turn into one of those.
Batch New Southern Kitchen is our presenting sponsor today. We love the guys at Batch. They're also celebrating Fat Tuesday with some beignets and
Have
some
that
other
vegetable dish
specials.
they have there with the corn and
Yeah,
roasted
well,
pepper.
you know me and corn. I can't do the corn,
Oh,
but I
that's
am
right.
going to have some of their salads and
Lubie
some
and
of
I'll
their,
grab that.
that grilled peach burrata salad is one of my
very
favorites.
nice.
And burrata, it's a healthier protein,
The lighter
and
cheese.
they got so many good things there. The blackened redfish, I will be definitely
Nice.
able to eat that. And they have 3 locations. They are known for their hospitality. They have had so many overwhelmingly positive reviews on Let's Eat South Florida that we've actually had to put a moratorium on them. There's just too
Get outta
many in the bin. But everybody who goes to one of the 3 locations love them. And we're going to be going there right before St. Patty's weekend on Thursday. What is it? March. Yes, Thursday, March 13th. We're going to be visiting Brandon again at the Fort Lauderdale location. And
Nice.
we're going to bring Tony Segreto along for him to get his first taste of Batch. We're not going to have him on the air necessarily, but he
Why
wanted
not?
to check it out. Well, we'll see.
You got Tony Segreto, one of the great broadcasters.
He's
of all
legendary.
time.
He is
How do you
legendary.
not put him on the show?
And Batch is legendary too.
Who's
Again,
gonna
there's
tell him he's not on the show. Lubie, you're going to give that to
no,
Lubie?
we'll get him on. We'll get the extra
Doing your
microphone
dirty work? Come on.
because Brandon usually has to go to a
Brandon
usually
leaves.
has some sort of meeting or oversee some stuff going on in the kitchen. So we'll get Tony in when we go out to Batch, Fort Lauderdale, 525 North Federal Highway. Free parking in the garage on the side street. Very easy. And then, of course, you've got the West Del Rey one that converted to the Batch New Southern Kitchen last September, and it is a huge hit. That's in the Del Rey Marketplace, West Atlantic, right near the Turnpike there, Lyons Road, and the one up in West Palm Beach on Clematis. All three locations ready to serve. They have the great weekend brunches along with lunch and dinner. Go there, tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, let's take a break, our first one, and then we'll come back with more of the Skinny Tuesday celebration after these words. For the finest poultry and the freshest fish, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. For the finest and authentic Greek cuisine, Taverna Kima is the place to go. 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. It's been around for nearly 2 decades. Every day is a feast with grilled lamb and fish, house-made spinach pie and moussaka, gyros, traditional dips, mezes, with soft, warm pita. It's open 7 days for lunch and dinner with happy hour daily from 3 to 6 p.m., indoor, outdoor, private dining. So celebrate life at Taverna Kima for reservations.
Hey Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligan's, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. It's a home show. It's Mardi Gras, which means Fat Tuesday. And of course, New Orleans is celebrating today. In Brazil, it's Carnival. And tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. You're very blurry, Lubie, or did I just
maybe
industrial strength acid? Oh, anyway, so tomorrow, Ash Wednesday. None of us are of the Catholic persuasion. We don't get our foreheads dipped in ashes, but it is the beginning of Lent, which begins from tomorrow until Easter Sunday, or is it Good Friday when it lapses? I'm a bad Catholic, but you're supposed to give up something, and I know we've talked about it on the show before, but I figured out what I am giving up. But I'll start with you, Lubie. You don't give up anything, or are you this year? I forgot.
No, I mean, I do enough with the Jewish. I actually follow the Jewish holidays. Shirley is a Catholic in this relationship. She used to give up things, and now she stopped like 7 years ago. So, no, none of us give up anything. We usually do Easter with her parents and her family. So that's my participation in what is, I guess, Lent to Ash Wednesday to Easter.
And Defo does not. It's not a
It's
consideration.
not a
What about
consideration
Sally?
with me at all.
Sally is what persuasion? I mean, is she?
She would
So
be
does
some
she
form
give
of
up that?
Catholic.
Yes.
She's a Shiksa, in
And
other
on
words.
Shiksa, we
Yeah.
all go for the Shiksa.
Not sure what she is, but I know
But
she ain't that.
she doesn't. Okay.
No,
Well, I
she
figured
doesn't
it
get
out,
this
gentlemen.
stuff.
You know, at first I was going to, and I said I am going to be giving up food now, but also pies and cakes. But I am officially giving up starting tomorrow NCAA pools. I will not be partaking in any NCAA pools this year during Lent, which happens to coincide perfectly with the NCAA tournament. You can't even call it March Madness anymore because it all takes place like all the big stuff in April, right?
April, yeah.
So what do you call it? April insanity? That doesn't make any sense. So, but no, I know I heard you were talking this morning about your pools and how the, I guess the cleaning crew, the cleaning
She always
Cleaning
won.
lady
lady
always
at
wins.
iHeartRadio used to.
Lucky if she can utter 5 words of broken English. Has never watched a college game in her life, and routinely her entry comes out on top. It was an embarrassment to those of us in the sports departments of various radio stations and TV locations I've been at, where everybody's thinking, "Hey, yeah, Defo must know. He watches all these games." And you come up empty, and of course, the cleaning lady walks off with the
Goes to
$2,000
show
first
what the
prize. So,
supposed experts know. I guess I might do one gag pool bracket with the old-fashioned gambling gourmet technique of
you've lost your affinity for sports, though, Mayo. I don't know how you were ever a sports writer all those years. Did you
got
just
beaten at her.
distance
No,
yourself
you
from
know
it?
what?
Did it
It's
annoy you
I
that much?
blame I
What happened?
blame the
What
greed
happened?
of the
You used
owners
to
and
be a
players. There's simply too much product that's crap for most of the year, and I pay attention to the big stuff. I love playoffs. I love playoff hockey. I love watching the World Series. I
Do
love.
you ever think about like, hey, I want to play college basketball. I want to play for Rhode Island or something, or
You mean
or compete at anywhere near that level where you're looking at the game and it's really raw essence type of stuff. I'm surprised at you. I mean, even with NIL and the big time programs and the money that's being exchanged, still, when you get into that mad scramble for the national championship and you see the way the teams are and you get the Cinderella stories and all the other stuff and the coaches that make an ascent and the coaches that fall on their face. It's a fascinating sporting event. I
Oh no,
really
I watched the tournament. I watched the NCAA tournament. I don't watch college basketball in December and January, and the same way I don't watch NBA
I never thought
basketball.
about burying a 3 out of the corner there for Tufts
Me?
to beat like Harvard or
No, I
you
never.
really teasing yourself,
I
man?
never conjured any illusions of greatness in basketball. My vertical leap is 1.5 inches,
Well, so is
and
every other guy in the track.
and I would get the snot swatted at me every time I tried to
That I
hoist the
can
three. It would be just boom right
that I
back in my forehead. That's no fun. But
You weren't the guy, but you weren't heavy then. I mean, you weren't the guy in the corner that everybody said, "No, no, no, no,
I
no." As soon as you
was
got the
a
ball.
hockey player. I played
I
roller hockey and ice
Hockey,
hockey,
wow,
and I
okay.
was known as a scrapper in the likes of remember Eddie Johnstone on the Rangers? That was my
see
model
you more
player.
as like a sort of a dirty guy around the net.
I was a scrapper. I
No?
would get a little, mix things
Feels like
up. I would be
yeah.
like a Dino Cicerelli type.
There you go. I was going to just mention
And
that name.
you can imagine that fits with my personality. I mean, I like to antagonize a little bit and play by the rules mostly, but no, but getting back into college hoops, I think maybe I got to fill out a bracket with the old gambling gourmet technique of which of these two teams would I rather be at their campuses or in their city eating? Which one has the better
So when you get like
food scene?
Davidson and Creighton, that's a tough one there to decide by that factor.
Davidson has some really good restaurants.
Oh, yeah?
It's in a like suburb of Charlotte, I think.
I just threw those names out there. I don't know whether
Yeah,
even
I would
look.
go with Davidson in that
All
much.
right.
But yeah, maybe I'll do one bracket filling out with the gambling gourmet eating technique, and I'm sure
I
I'll
think we
get
should have a contest on the show. What are you talking about? You
Yeah,
had to
just
be people
one.
trying to pick a daily double with 14 horse fields, going.
Oh, speaking of which, all right, how did you do over the weekend? Because Sovereignty a horse that everybody I knew said, "Oh, very talented horse, but there's no way he's going to win this race. He's going to finish second or third." And
Yeah.
if he did finish second, I would have taken home about $400. I had a huge trifecta keying River Thames on top of Sovereignty using that number 7 horse, the Safi Joseph horse that ended up hanging on for third. And the trifecta as it is came back $65 for 50 cents. I would have had a $5 exacta the other way, which probably would have been like $42. It would have been 400. Anyway, nobody wants to hear my lament. Did you have a good Saturday? Did you play?
Do you
the race?
still have those tickets? Can you hold them up so we can look at? I ended up doing another one of my miracle comebacks. Where I was down to my last $10, and I hit an exacta, and I hit like the next 3 races, cashed about $500 worth of tickets. We always, after a winning day at the Isle there, now known as Harris and the Pomp in Pompano, we venture over to the Fish Shack in Lighthouse Point, where I have to say, if this is on any menu, I don't know, even if they didn't prepare it as well, the triple tail. I don't know if you're a triple tail.
Yeah, I love it. That's a good feast.
Man,
Fish.
wow.
A good piece of fish is the triple
I'm
tail.
sure I've had it before. I'm a hogfish fan when I go to the Fish Shack. I love their hogfish. They had a thing, too, that I hadn't seen. I didn't even know what it was. Have you heard of pumpkin swordfish?
Yes, it's the
Pumpkin
swordfish that's only available a few weeks out of the year. They eat a
Great.
special type of krill.
Yeah.
Krill, of course, is like a little plankton type thing, but it turns their
Very
skin
juicy compared
orange.
to the usual. Yeah,
Pumpkin
fantastic.
swordfish is a local delicacy. The guys at Even Keel feature it
Yeah.
sometimes. And,
Even Keel and the Fish Shack even though Even Keel also has the words Fish Shack in the name, they're very different places in a lot of ways. I mean, they're both great, dynamite. Fish Shack, the Fish Shack, goes with simplicity as bliss, and we know that Brad and Dave, the guys at Even Keel, like to put a lot of into just absolutely incredibly innovative touches into their things.
yeah, I mean,
But
see,
I did have some grilled oysters there, which were very, very
Oh,
impressive.
nice.
yeah, no, I love. Look, Fish Grill has the same ownership as the people that run Calypso. I love Calypso. They're open
And Calypso bought the Fish Shack.
right, and Calypso is now open Saturday nights for dinner. They used to only be a Monday through Friday only.
Yeah.
Calypso Fish, Fish Shack, and then there's Fish Grill down in my old neighborhood in Dania that also does just simple fish. They grill it, they blacken it, they broil it. They also have a couple of their own house specialties. They have something.
This I had fried, but it sounds like you're defeating the purpose of eating some light meal.
Yeah,
But the way they fry and batter their
do a good
fish
job.
there, it doesn't.
And I love
take away, it just enhances.
I love the fish that you don't usually find. Triple tail,
Triple tail fried was unbelievable.
wahoo. They
Unbelievable.
have like you said, the
Wahoo,
hogfish.
On your new mission, I would go there and I would try it.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah,
I've
Triple sandwich
been.
with a side,
And I'm
$20.
a big fan.
Unbelievable.
And again, I'm a fan of, like you said, Even Keel, more elevated. Corvina,
Even
more
kills
elevated.
a little different vibe.
More elevated at Corvina. Luke's has that kind of bare bones where
Luke's
they could
is good
just
too, yeah.
grill a piece of fish, but he's going to do some things like with his
does all those.
sauces and that comfort bowl.
He throws his own touch in there.
There's so much
Fish
good
Shack is
seafood around.
simplistic, but it's fantastic.
Unbelievable. I mean, the simplicity is bliss theory at that particular place. I mean, it's not like you can't get other things there, but
Oh, they're good.
this triple tail, literally, if I see it on any menu, I'm ordering it every time.
Well, once we're on the seafood kick, let's talk about our friends at Delaware Chicken Farm
they
and
must have
Seafood
triple tail.
Market.
Yeah, available.
They
Wow.
have the freshest in seafood, whether it's fish, and they got all kinds of great fish from local and waters from afar, including the Northeast. They get some great halibut in from Pacific Northwest and Alaska. They also have great local grouper and tuna and swordfish and all the things that you expect. And don't forget, the stone crab season still going on for another 2 months. You want to get out there, especially if you're going to be having any kind of NCAA tournament parties, and go grab yourself one of his. Gene will make you a nice party platter with the shrimp, some stone crab. Don't forget the buffalo chicken dip and all the other things, meats and sausages. Tony Segreto loves it. We might have to invite him out. We're going out there a week from today. On Tuesday, March 11th, we'll be making our monthly visit. Delaware Chicken and Seafood is at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, right across from the old Seminole Classic Casino, also the old known as the old Bingo Parlor. And if you want to sign up for Delaware's weekly newsletter, go online to DelawareChicken.com. Sign up today. It gives you all the latest information and specials and savings. We love Delaware. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Comment of the day goes to Scott. He's now nicknamed you Mayroyd. That's worthy of applause, man.
I don't even know what that means, but I'm gonna
to take. You're juicing now.
You're juicing, sir.
Oh, Mayroyd. I thought it was referring to hemorrhoids. I was like, how does he know?
Well, it could be that too. It could have been in the past.
All right, I'm gonna take
my a big bite. That just to
no big bite.
You're still alive.
Modest bite. I really don't have any interest in this. It smells really good.
Look at that live bite.
So weak, man. So weak.
Not
the whole appeal of the show, I mean, is going out the window.
Took a dive.
It's good.
How
but
sad.
it does not move me.
Like we throw some spots up here. We
All right, let's take a break. When people ask me about the best restaurants in South Florida, Casa D'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended. For a special occasion or any occasion, Casa D'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-faced smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and looking for great seafood that's a little further inland? Luke's Seafood and Grill. That's Luke's with a C. 5511 South University Drive in Davie. Luke and Roxy, they're a great couple with great food. It's a mom and pop shop bringing the freshest fish and seafood to Western Broward. Some of the best jambalaya and fish cakes around. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? You can find his famous Scoobies, those sauteed crab claws, right there on the specials board most days. Oh, so good. So take a trip to University just north of Sterling today. Lunch, dinner, closed on Mondays. Tell them Mike Mayo's Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Feel like getting away without leaving town? Then you got to check out the House on the River in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful restored historic home with indoor and outdoor dining right on the New River. You'll think you're in Charleston or Savannah. It has a gorgeous patio, porches, and private dining areas, and it offers unique experiences perfect for a date night or fun times with friends and family. It has weekend brunches, happy hour, dinner Wednesday through Sunday. There's also a high tea on Friday and Saturdays, and the popular House of Veuve Champagne experience on weekends. The House on the River is in Fort Lauderdale's Himmershey district, just south of Science Museum. For reservations and
That was the picture. That was the one.
That's it. All right.
That picture.
Lubie is blurry and
Point of
confused.
no return.
Yes, that's it. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. Had a nice break. I did take a couple of bites of the shrimp po' boy. It tastes good, but now I'm scared because George on the chat line says if you eat fried foods, beware. Beware of
that would be the first thing you would consume after
of
that.
incendiary devices going off. But no, it's
gonna be fun seeing you in the background on a commercial though. Maybe I won't have to change the channel anymore. But hey, look, that's Mayo.
That's me. I'll be dancing. We'll see if I'm.
Will you sing before we sign off today? I just want you to do one chorus of "Oh, Zempic."
I hope it doesn't make me go.
See what happens
in the middle of the show.
Your doctor approved this? He gave you the thumbs up?
So that the key these days, Defo, is not getting the doctor to approve it. That's the easy part. It's getting the insurer to approve it. Because I've got this fly-by-night insurance company that I signed up for at the beginning of this year through the Obamacare, healthcare.gov, because my old insurance plan that I liked, that I had, was no longer going to be in network for some of my doctors. So I had to do the musical chairs insurance tango. I signed up with this insurance outfit. I think it's an offshoot of Blue Cross Blue Shield, but Blue Cross Blue Shield, they call themselves Oscar. Now, would you trust a health insurance plan named Oscar? I don't think
exactly, on the common thread there when you look
no,
up.
It's a weird name, but that was my nickname in college because I was Oscar Madison. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try Oscar. The price is right, and they cover a lot of my drugs and all my doctors. So I went with them, and then I had to fight tooth and nail for a month for them to approve the Ozempic thing. But
they're probably looking out for your best interest, actually.
No, actually, they're looking out for their
this lazy slob is going to avoid having some discipline.
If you're a Hollywood starlet that's 140 pounds and you want to get to 105 pounds and you want Ozempic for that I would say is an abuse of what the intended purpose is. For a person who's 245 pounds, who's pushing 60 and also soon to be maybe pushing up daisies with diagnosed diabetes type 2, then this is exactly what Ozempic was.
And there's no doubt about it. The warning signs were clearly there.
Hey, just wrapping up the whole horses for the weekend. I did mention yesterday briefly, but again, congratulations to Michelle Fleekop. She was the only one of the contest entrants last week who picked the winning horse, Sovereignty, who is only a 3-1 shot. And again, class horse. What a great late closing kick that nobody figured he was going to be able to get up in the short stretch and the configuration of the race, but he is a pure class animal from Bill Mott. And so she was the only one out of about 40 entrants. We didn't even have to go to the second leg of the Daily Double. She was the only one who had Sovereignty, and that's it. She won the contest.
In the field too.
Yeah, so. And the restaurant, I don't know if you know this, the oldest restaurant in New Orleans. Antoine's is the correct answer. Antoine's has been around since 1840, so that's a long time, and the birthplace of oysters, Rockefeller.
I have a little different approach than you do on New Orleans because I know you like all the high-end, fancy places, but I like walking into some slimy-looking bar, and then you're always surprised when you walk in there and somebody's at the bar. It looks like he might have been in there for 24 hours, but has a dish in front of him that you're thinking, my God, where are they hiding this top chef? And it's kind of like the bars in New Jersey where you walk in and you can't believe the quality of the restaurant that's involved.
Yep.
But you can pretty much go in anywhere. I mean, you don't necessarily need to go to the top places in New
No,
Orleans.
you don't have to go to the fancy places where you have to put on a jacket. Some of those restaurants, I'm not sure about Antoine's, but Galatoire's, which is kind of its old snooty cousin, requires jackets still.
Brennan's, they don't have jacket requirements.
Commander's Palace used to require jackets. But you're right, because as Tom T has proven, like, you can just go into the most humblest of places in New
you would
Orleans,
never expect to get
and they'll knock out a great muffaletta or great red beans and rice. There's so much good stuff in that city. But again, today being Fat Tuesday, go and treat yourself to.
Where else is there besides Shuck and Dive?
Well, there's two places called Voodoo Bayou that I haven't been to, so I can't comment on it. It just doesn't look like my.
It seems like a little bit of a mixed bag, no?
Yeah. There's one in Fort Lauderdale on Las Olas, and there's another one up in, I don't know if it's Palm Beach Gardens, I think.
Yeah.
But that's Voodoo Bayou. And then there's a lot of places that have gone by the wayside. There used to be the place called The Balcony that's now Catch and Cut. That was Bo Camper's place.
Like a good move by Bo Camper to switch that, because Catch and Cut's getting rave reviews, and The Balcony was about to cave in, I think.
Well, The Balcony didn't last very long. He changed it to something else called Bo's Pub. And again, he learned his lesson. I'm glad he said it, because I was thinking it all those years. Is like, if you're going to be opening up a Louisiana Cajun restaurant, don't hire some Swedish British chef to do it. And that was, and he mentioned it when he dropped by at Wicked Cheesesteaks. Wicked Cheesesteaks was supposed to be going there Thursday, but I got word from Brian. He broke his toe. He's on the disabled list, and he's got a crew that's trying to cover for him. But I'm hoping that we can get in there Thursday. He's going to let us know tomorrow.
Broken toe, you just have to sit it out.
Well, if you're on your feet all day, it's a little bit disturbing. Hey, I don't want to get into the trade wars thing, but I just will mention, I'm gonna, in a non-political way, of how insane it is to start a trade war with all of our biggest trading partners. I mean, Canada buys $349 billion worth of U.S. products, and Mexico is number 2 at $344 billion. So they're the ones who are buying the most stuff from us, and you're slapping tariffs on them, and now they're going to retaliate. It's called a trade war, and usually there's few winners in trade wars. I don't quite get what how this is going to benefit Americans. And all I want to hear, and I'm going to throw it out in a question, a very neutral question, at some point tomorrow on Let's Eat, which is, if you own and operate a restaurant, how will it be impacting any of your day-to-day operations and what you're buying, and will you have to adjust anything accordingly? I don't see how, if you're dependent on lobsters coming from Nova Scotia instead of Maine, and they're going to slap 25% tariff on lobsters from Maine. Of course, the price of lobster rolls are going to be going up if you're using the Nova Scotia law. I don't know. Can anybody explain this? I guess I was somewhat good at economics. I went to the London School of Political Economics for a semester. Spent most of the time drinking in pubs. But do you understand any of this, either one of you gents? Defo?
Well, when you set Lubie up, I mean, just light a fuse underneath this guy's window. He'll go over the next 20 minutes. Look, all of it looks absurd to me. Everything that's happened since this whole nightmare began, and that's my opinion. You may want to be apolitical. I think people really need to start considering speaking out. I normally stay away from this stuff on my Facebook page, but I've just been hammering it, because you can't sit back and let this stuff transpire.
Well, all I know,
about it.
I put on my personal Facebook page today
how does it end up being good is the question.
I don't get it. I don't understand what
to it. There's none. It's literally a very ass backwards thinking, and it's from a very small-minded perspective that is trying to accrue some kind of favor from countries that already think highly of us. It's actually backfiring immensely, where our trade partners and allies now look down on us and question us. I was on a call with a dude yesterday, and I actually listened in, that's from Canada, and we take all this stuff with a grain of salt, stupidly, because now that's why we are where we are. They don't. They're like freaking out in Canada. Like they're literally batting down the hatches like a war.
Let me and Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, made some comments this morning about how this is war, and we're not going to back down, and America is being unreasonable. And I could see if if your trading partners are being unfair, if some company, if a country is throwing a 80% tariff on your goods and you don't have any on theirs, that's fine. But this is something we had NAFTA, and we've had all these other trade agreements with our North American partners
that he
and
signed. He signed the most recent one.
And I read something to the effect of, now this isn't food, but with automobiles, that an SUV, basically the parts needed to assemble an SUV goes back and forth across the different borders between Canada, US, and Mexico like 8 or 9 times, and that these tariffs will, one estimate from a neutral economic institute estimates that the average sticker price of an SUV will go up by $9,000 as a result of these tariffs. And how does that benefit anybody, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, if you voted for for change and for less inflation? How does that benefit any of these voters? I don't understand. But when it comes to so the only thing I posted on my personal Facebook page this morning was an excerpt from a Bloomberg News. They do a daily politics newsletter, and one of the sentences in it was, "Canadians are furious." And I just highlighted that, because obviously they're not happy about what's going on. But it's like it said, even before Trump proved he wasn't bluffing, Canadians have been canceling U.S. vacations, booing the American anthem at sporting events, and boycotting California wine and Kentucky bourbon. And I was like, of all the things that have happened in the first 100 days, to manage to tick off the world's most polite and nicest population, that is truly a feather in the cap. I mean, to be able to do that, Canadians are furious is just a sentence that's an oxymoron. Have you ever seen a furious Canadian? I mean, yeah, I've seen a couple of
I did on the tennis courts.
Oh, okay.
When I asked for my ball back, where I was playing like Pen 4s, and they had with some other brand, Wilson's, but they still had it in their group of balls when they're showing them to you, and you're like, wait a minute, that's clearly mine.
Yeah, well, and even when some people
how can you say that? You accuse me of stealing your ball. I'm like, get that.
Even when I mock them for their tipping habits from
the tipping is absurd. It really is. I don't know if that's a cultural thing. Maybe you can put it on that, but when somebody leaves you like 10 cents in Canadian coin on a $240 bill.
But usually it's the U.S. The American waiters are furious at the Canadians, but it's the other way now. Canadians are now furious, and and somebody on my personal page who says, "Oh, what are they going to do? Let them drink their own crappy ice wine if they're not going to be buying California wine." But that's not the point. The point is this: they're not going to be buying California wine anymore, but they are going to be buying French wine. They are going to be buying Italian wine. They're going to be buying good wine from Europe instead of the United States.
They would rather drink Ripple. What are you talking about? Yes. And honor this what's going on right now. I keep coming back to the Zelensky thing, and I can't get this out of my head. I see Fredo just screaming at Michael Corleone. You don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that, Michael.
Yeah, what a setup.
Pretty much that sums it up.
Yeah. All right, let's take our third and final break. Let's do one thing. Oh, 2 things. I got 3 things, but let's talk about Casa D'Angelo, because they have 3 locations, and they're 3 good things. I mean, I tell you, if you want the finest in quality, and at this point, I don't think there's any tariffs on Italian goods, so that's good news for Italian food fans, especially the great wines that Angelo brings into his locations. There's one up in Boca on Palmetto Park Road with our friend Chef Ricky. We've got, of course, the one in Aventura and the flagship location in Fort Lauderdale, right there at the Big Bend Federal Highway, just north of Sunrise Boulevard, 1201 North Federal Highway. Casa D'Angelo, been serving the finest quality cuisine for almost 30 years now. And you're going to want to get in there if you have visiting guests or you want to have a good date night. This is the place to go. We love Casa D'Angelo. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, we're up to break number 3.
We are.
Let's take break number 3, and then we'll wrap up this edition of the Lunchbox after these words. Hey, it's Mayo here for Prezzo Italian Restaurants. 2 locations, Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days, featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information, Southern comfort food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food and a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. If you want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasta platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi. Fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. And just one final note, our friend Evan Darnell and the Red Meat Lovers Club is having a takeover of Anthony's Runway 84 in Fort Lauderdale for charity next Monday, March 10th. Get your tickets now. Go online to redmeatloversclub.com. It's actually rmlclub.com is the website, or eventbrite.com, and just do a search for Red Meat Lovers Club Runway 84. Again, it's going to be a fantastic time. A good buffet set up, including a parm station, all your favorite parms, eggplant and chicken, and etc. Great times going to be had by all. And one final note, did you see I did a thing over the weekend, 4 days. I kept a running tally total of on Let's Eat South Florida, all the posts from Friday morning at 8 a.m. until this morning, Tuesday at 8 a.m. 4 days worth of posts. It was a total of 154 posts, because everybody says, oh, it's just a fetch fest and everybody's negative. Guess how many negative posts there was out of 154 over a course of 4 days? Gentlemen, anybody see the results?
I was going to say 30. I didn't see. I was just going to say 30.
So you're going to say it's about a 20 to 22.
Yeah, it's actually much higher positive than negative. We just get focused on the negative.
Defo, any care to venture a guess?
No idea.
Okay, well, here we go. 80 of the 154 were positive, gushing recommendations about places people should go. That's 52%. 69 of 154 were neutral or queries, basically people asking, where do I take my cousin for a vegan thing, or kind of informational posts of like, hey, this is going to be opening soon. So 52 plus 45%, that's 97% positive or neutral. 3%, only five
There you
posts
go.
out of 154 were negative. And one of those negative posts was actually a humorous swipe posted by a bartender. He listed all the ridiculous things. It was kind of a negative post directed at customers
Great
of
posters.
people who are like who come into bars and are act in crazy ways and do ask for entitled things. So even that one of the five wasn't even a blasting a restaurant, it was a restaurant worker blasting customers. So it was actually only 4 negative posts out of 100, less than 3%.
There you go.
Which, but it just shows you that the algorithms pump out
Yes.
those negative ones, because the post that had the most comments over the whole weekend was somebody that was bitching about a automatic 10% gratuity imposed on pizzas taken out from one of the pizza places on the Hollywood Broadwalk, and that got 400 comments. So Facebook loves to pump out the negative. It got 400 comments, more than any other post, but the overwhelming majority of posts on Let's Eat are actually positive and also neutral. So remember that next time people say it's just a bitch fest. It's not. Now, the comments section can sometimes turn into quite the thing, but I say there's false narratives out there. It's fake news about Let's Eat South Florida. It is actually a place where it was the intent was so that people could actually recommend new places or places that people might not know about. And I was very happy to see it. So I'm proud of everybody out there who's doing the right thing. So. All right, that's going to do it for today. We're going to be at BKK Thai restaurant. It's a new place in Fort Lauderdale where Andy's Live Fire Grill used to be. Actually, Ernie's Barbecue used to be there a long time ago. But the restaurateurs behind it also operate other Thai sushi places in Davie and Hallandale Beach. And the operator, woman named Poom, big fan of the show. So we're going to go in there for a late edition tomorrow at, I believe it's 2:00. And we're going to be eating some good Thai food and some sushi as well. It's become one of my regular stops. Me and Val go in there probably like once a week to either pick up or eat in. So good stuff. All right. Defo, thank you for today. And Lubie, thank you for your efforts. We'll see everybody tomorrow. And until then, enjoy not eating every sandwich.